Chef Tony Matassa here for shopperschoice.com and BBQGuys.com. Today I'm going to be preparing a Latin American favorite that you may want to cook for a party or a tailgate, or you might just want to cook for the house. I'll be doing some Latin American style grilled corn, and I'll be using a grilled corn basket from Charcoal Companions, and I'll zoom in a second to show you guys, but basically the good thing about this is it'll hold 4 ears of corn in here snugly because it adjusts at the end depending on how thick your corn is. And the good thing about this is your corn won't stick to your grill and mess your grill all up because it'll be inside of this container here. So that's the one thing I like about it. There's not a lot of cleanup after, especially if you are doing it for a tailgate or some sort of a party. You don't want to have a bunch of cleanup. Anyway, what you'll need for this particular recipe is preferably 8 ears of corn. I've got 4 here just to show you real quick how I'm going to do it, but the rest of the stuff in the recipe goes for 8 ears of corn. You'll get 4 quarts of water. You add half a cup of salt in here, and you'll need to put, there's also 1/4 of a cup of sugar in here. And basically it's like a brine that I'm going to soak the corn in. That's something that a lot of people fail to do, and that's why they end up with a starchy grilled corn or dry. They just don't really, that's why a lot of people avoid it. But if you brine it first for half an hour to an hour, I would say no more than about 8 hours, you end up with perfect corn every time. You also need, and this is for topping the corn. I mean, if you want to just grill the corn, grill it just like this. Brine it first, put a little oil or butter on it, grill it, take it off, put some more butter on it, salt and pepper, or none, however you like it. It's ready to eat. But if you'd like to do this Latin American topping that I'm talking about today, get a stick of butter. You want to bring it to room temperature and cube it up a little bit. You need a half a teaspoon of lime juice and half a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. In here I have a pinch of chili powder and a pinch of cayenne pepper. I have a tablespoon of fresh cilantro pesto, and that's just a chopped up cilantro with olive oil blended together to make a pesto. 1/4 of a teaspoon of fresh grated lime zest. A half a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. A half a teaspoon of kosher or sea salt. And 1 garlic clove mashed with a little sea salt and a little bit of olive oil to make sort of a garlic paste so that you don't have big chunks of garlic on top of your corn. Because it's going to go together, I'm going to show you, and then you basically slather on the top of your corn after you pull it off the fire. Makes really good stuff. The first thing you'll need to do is remove all the silk from your corn. The best way to do that is to cut a little bit off the front, and then you just pull it down thusly. Just like that, okay? Now once you have them all clean, you're gonna put all, 4 to 8 of them. Like I said, you could probably do 8. You'll put them inside of any container that you have big enough to hold 4 quarts of water and the salt and sugar that I was talking about earlier. While your corn is soaking, you wanna make sure that you get your fire lit, depending on what grill you'll be using. Today I'm using the Weber Summit S470. But that's the great thing about me being at Shopper's Choice and BBQ Guys is I get to pick anything I want to cook on. So whatever you have at home, make sure you fire it up, bring it up to a medium-high heat. While it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start putting together the, it's not really a sauce, but the topping, the Latin American topping that'll go on top of the corn once it's cooked. Just using a fork, you get your butter ready and dump in your... You want your dry ingredients in there first so that you can blend up the butter with it well, and then you'll go in with your wet ingredients. So you go with the half a teaspoon of sea salt first, half a teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 of a teaspoon of freshly grated lime zest, a pinch of cayenne pepper, and a pinch of chili powder. All you do is just use a regular fork like this, nothing special. You're basically just making a compound butter that you'll slather on top of the corn when it's done. And as simple as this is, this makes an incredible topping. So I highly recommend you try this instead of just doing the grilled corn and eating it that way, even though it's still going to be very good that way. Once that's well blended, like I said, all you do now is you add your lemon and lime juice, add your garlic paste. You could also use roasted garlic if you wanted. It may not be as Latin American tasting using that, but it'd be still in the Mediterranean region. You add your cilantro, and now we'll blend this stuff together. Once your corn is soaked long enough, you want to slather it down with a little olive oil to help bring the heat into in these ridges where the kernels are and whatnot. The easiest method for doing that is to try to get you a silicone top basting bottle, sort of like this. One of my personal favorites. And all you're going to do is make sure you're thoroughly coated. And I say olive oil, I mean if you want to use some other vegetable oil, go for it. It's your corn, whatever taste you like. And these are the notches I was talking about earlier. See these different notches, and I'm going to show you. It helps to bind it down. The further you go down on the notches, the tighter it'll hold down, depending on how thick your corn is. And now let me show you. I'm going to go down to the furthest notch down to hold it in tight, because my corn is not that thick. And that's it. Once you get it down, you slide this little guy right here over that thing, and it locks it all into place like that. Okay, you're able to see how it holds it in good and tight. And the one thing I do want to caution you on is you want to make sure that after you've had this thing on the grill that you use a towel to pick up this part. It'll be very hot. But this is a real rosewood handle, so it should last you. I would always, anything that's real rosewood, I like to put a little olive oil on it after I clean it and whatnot. But other than that, it should last you a good long time. So let's get these bad boys on the grill. These are going to go in for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm going to check on them in about 5 minutes and turn them over. We'll see how they look, and then I'll probably turn them back over in another 5 minutes after that. We are now right at 5 minutes. So we'll turn them over for the first time and take a look at them. Alright, not much has changed on them. So like I said, it'll probably be going for about 15 minutes, I would think. Corn has now been cooking for about 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over again. There we go. We're starting to get some nice little char here and there on our roasted corn. The corn has now been on for right at around 15 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and I just turned the grill off a second ago. I'm going to take them off. Looks great. The first thing I want to do when I take it off is give it a little salt and pepper. While it's still good and hot. And like I was saying, remember to use a towel or a pot holder or something to take it off, because the handle will be hot, being on the grill. Guess that's kind of a no-brainer for anybody out there who's smarter than me. Probably a large crowd of people. Once you have your corn off the grill, you just pull this little guy back, and the top is ready to come off. Now you can let it cool down if you'd like, but I don't really have that kind of patience when I'm sitting around good food that smells really good, just came off the grill. I like to get into it pretty quick. So after it's been salt and peppered, you just take any sort of pastry brush, or I don't know, use your hands if you'd like, whatever you're into. You're going to slather the corn down. Oh God, it looks really good. This is starting to look pretty serious here. Now turn the corn over. And in Mexico City preferably, in the area, a lot of street vendors sell things like this. Now after you're done with this, if you'd like, you could top it with like grated Parmesan cheese or Romano or something. Then you're talking about a whole nother thing there. I wouldn't even be able to do the show if we put Parmesan cheese on top of this. So I'll get you guys to zoom in and show you up close what it looks like. There they are up close. Just from looking at it, like I said, if you put some Parmesan cheese or Romano or some kind of other cheese grated on top of that, that's a little too serious for me, but I really think you would enjoy it. I hope this proved to you how easy it is to make grilled corn and even to top it with something nice. And I hope you'll attempt to do it at your next party or your next tailgate. I'd like to give a special thanks to Charcoal Companions for the grilling basket that I used, and for Weber for letting me use the Summit S470. At Shopper's Choice and BBQGuys.com, remember, we smoke the competition.